Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
Hello, folks. I'm Imam. This is Game Over. If I look dead, it's because I feel dead, but I am here with two lovely people to pick up the slack while I die a little bit. I'm here with Andrew and Laura. Andrew of I was going to say Locked On Canadians. No, Andrew of Game Over,
You know who I am.
and Laura of Locked On Canadians. So, hello, folks. How are we feeling today, guys?
I love
I'm
this
feeling pretty
team.
good after that.
I love this team. I don't know, like it just makes my heart grow. It's very bad to be this attached to a sports team because behind the scenes, it's not like it looks like on the ice, but on the ice the vibes are immaculate and I'm riding a high.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, we needed this from the Canadians. They've put together some good games lately, but first periods have been an issue. They were killers today in the first period. They had like the first couple of shifts, I felt the Predators hemmed them in their zone a couple of times,
Mhm.
but they never accomplished anything. And it seemed to me like the Canadians failed on a few clears, but they kind of approached the Predators' forecheck not in a way that they were struggling with it. They were just patient. So there were times where it took like a few minutes to get, or not in a few minutes, but more than expected to get out of their zone, but they never really seemed in trouble. And then once they started going, it was like the Predators had nothing. And I don't think the Canadians really put the pedal to the metal after the first period in this game. And the Predators got very fortunate that they didn't, because Saros was okay. He wasn't the best we've seen of Saros, but in this game, if the Canadians had pushed as hard the whole game as they did in the first period, it's probably 7 goals instead of 4. Like they were crushing them.
Cooking. And like I'm glad that they didn't push as hard. I'm glad that they especially by the end of the second, because they are playing tomorrow. And Carolina, as we know, is a good team. And B is also a team that makes you work, right? Everybody knows
Mhm.
Carolina shoots the puck a lot. So honestly, pretty happy with this game. It was a really good start. Um, I really liked our penalty kill this game. There was one goal on their power play, but that was like that was just poor Jacob. Like that felt like one of those goals that happened because somebody somewhere out there said "shut out" too loud. So that feels like that's what happened there.
I think it was someone on the broadcast actually. I
I
didn't
mean,
hear the word
Gary
shut out.
Galley.
oh my
Uh,
God, oh my God. Okay, so I posted about this, and I'll say it here because I'm sick and I love complaining. I mean, I love complaining in general, but um, Gary Galley, near the start of this game, there was a point where they had like a graphic up talking about the first line, and they were talking about how good it was and like all the points. And Gary Galley goes, "Yeah, and Columbus shut them down. They did such a good job." Like he just started going off about Columbus, and I was like, "Gary,
That's not even today.
that's not even today."
He can't help himself.
He
He's
really
got to
can't.
get in a shot.
By the time the Habs are like truly competitive, I really hope we have somebody else doing, most games for us because I can't like every Saturday brings a Cole Caulfield goal, or most Saturdays do, and it also brings a Gary Gatley broadcast, which is like not ideal. This is
I think we have to
another one
pay
of those
with one
moments.
to get the other.
You're right. If I had to choose one over the other, I am taking the Cole goal. But speaking of our small goals boy, to quote Locked On Canadians, has gotten his 45th goal.
Yes.
Did we expect this, guys?
We mean tonight or just overall?
Well, overall, I mean, any night I'm expecting him at this point to get however many.
I honestly thought that 40 was in play this year. Like at the beginning of this year, I thought 40 was in play.
Yeah.
I didn't even think that there was a remote possibility that he would be getting 50.
Mhm.
And there's still plenty of games left for him to do that.
Yeah.
But the key thing for me is the fact that the Rocket Richard is still in play. Like that's the part that I think like is the surprising part.
That it's close in that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Aren't
been
you all
it's been a
glad that sorry, Kay, but aren't you all
no.
glad that Suzuki, Caulfield, and Slavkovsky are signed long term? And
I'm
Hudson too?
so
Like
glad.
all of that's done.
For
And there was no
economical
bridge contracts. Like no bridge contracts to worry about like, oh, now they're gonna make $15 million a year. Like thinking ahead has done so much of the heavy lifting for this management group, just having like an eye to 5 years down the future. It's crazy. But we should probably say we're going to do the recap segment, our first period, then we're going to go straight to the questions tonight because Kay and
Yes.
Laura are both a little bit under the weather. I'm overtired and technically not hosting tonight, but we'll do that. We're going to do a quicker show, I think, just so these amazing women can go get some sleep and hopefully feel better tomorrow.
I hope so. I have a friend. Well, I'll come back with the story. How about first I do my job and send us over to our lovely sponsors at Inchibishu. You were telling me something exciting about them, Andrew. I can't remember exactly what. Would you like to repeat it?
Sure, yeah. Intrubiju is, I guess, age of majority today. They turned 18 years. It's the 18th anniversary of Astrid
Oh, yeah.
opening the shop. First of all, an online shop, but now brick and mortar in St. Henry? Yeah, St. Henry, technically, in Montreal. So, yeah, Intrubiju, 18th anniversary.
Exciting. Okay, we'll send you over to our lovely sponsors in Shibichu.
Famous chateau at 4000 Rue Saint Ambroise lies one of Montreal's coolest secrets, a glamorous Gothic jewelry store owned and run by women. Inchu Bijou isn't just a business. They've built a community that supports bold creativity and expression. When I was first introduced to founder Astrid Episegomian's shop, I was floored by the detail, vision, and scale of what she's built from her own mind. I don't think anyone would call me goth, but I know an innovator when I see one. Along with building their own business, Inchu Bijou also hosts markets for vendors in their space called Marché Maleficarum, boosting their whole community. If you don't live in Montreal, explore inchubijou.com, where you'll find over 800 designs that range from affordable to bespoke. Check out Inchu Bijou right now, a Game Over partner from the beginning.
We're back, as we promised. Sorry, guys. What I meant to say was actually tomorrow, one of my friends who has gotten into hockey through heated rivalry, and it's one of their first times like going to a actually properly going to a game, and it's tomorrow in Carolina, and I'm like, please don't embarrass me, boys, please don't embarrass me. Like that is at this point, that's where I am mentally. I'm thinking ahead to tomorrow.
I also had a
I get it.
similar like experience with that. One of my friends who was in very deep danger of being a Sens fan because he's originally from Ottawa, moved to Montreal many, many years ago, now lives in Montreal. And was in danger of becoming a Sens fan, got into hockey because of heated rivalry, won a ticket to a game that was the Colorado Avalanche at the Bell Center game.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
god.
listen, the Avalanche are the best team in the league. There's a good chance they're going to win. Montreal's power play sucks. Their penalty sucks. This sucks. All of that. And then what did the Habs do? So this is what you're going to do. You're going to prepare your friend and be like, Carolina is the best team in the East, and go from there.
You're right. I should start with that. I should start with that. Set
Don't even
expectations low.
mention that the Habs have beat them twice this year.
Oh no, of course I won't.
No, can't jinx it. Can't jinx it. Yeah. I saw a comment here from Adam Glingland says the Habs donated that Rocket Richard trophy. It'd be nice to see it come home. I had not even thought of that, but what a poetic way to possibly end a regular season for the Montreal Canadiens. If Cole Caulfield ends up passing Nathan McKinnon, which I'm sorry, Kay, we're pitting your two teams against each other,
This is
unfortunately.
really hard for me. I'll be honest about that one. It's really hard for
It's
me.
just really it's awful to see two of your favorite players on two of your favorite teams battling it out to
Okay,
be the
yeah.
best at something.
Yeah, okay,
It's
fine.
awful.
Okay, fine, you got me. You got me. I was talking to a friend. I was
Yeah.
telling them I was like, this is. I have a knee-jerk defensive reaction to both of these sides because I have like the ass fans I know, like being like Cole Caulfield, like blah blah blah, and then all my Habs fans are like, but wouldn't it be cool if McKinnon just fell on his face? And I'm like, guys, no, it would not. But also, it wouldn't be cool if Cole fell on anyways. This is just
I would
hello.
like Cole Caulfield to do it without Nathan McKinnon having to fall on his face. I would like Cole Caulfield to organically like get this milestone.
Honestly,
Just
yeah.
puck
But
don't lie.
can I say something? Can I say something? And I know we're Habs podcast,
Yes.
but I'm gonna say something. It's in order to be out on in order to have empty netter goals, you need to be a player that your coach puts out there with the net empty. And it's neither here nor there. However, and this is something I said before too, because it's something that like Oilers fans got on Nate for all the time. And I'm just gonna say that if you're out there, they all count the same, is all I'm saying. And I'm not that's where I'm leaving it. That's where I'm leaving it. King of the
They
North,
do
you
all
are not
count the
baiting
same.
me. You are not baiting me, King of the North.
Counterpoint to that. Cole Caulfield may not play when the net is empty. I don't think it has anything to do with trust. I don't know what the choices are, but just straight up, Nathan McKinnon versus Cole Caulfield defensively, who are you taking? I'm not
This year?
taking Nathan McKinnon. I'm sorry. Cole Caulfield is legitimately good defensively now. Like,
Well,
he's
sorry,
been great. Oh, we lost Laura.
we lost Laura. Okay,
Oh
she's
no,
back.
she's back. My internet has been like this all night. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but defensively, obviously, I'm taking Nathan McKinnon. But I do want to talk about Cole
What?
Caulfield in a second.
Andrew, I don't know if you've looked at his numbers this year, but it is absolutely Nathan McKinnon. I would not always say that, but also Cole Caulfield isn't.
I
Whatever.
have not looked at his numbers this year, but I have watched Nathan McKinnon play enough throughout his career that if he has one good year defensively,
career.
I'm just going to say it's
career.
probably not him.
His career versus. We're not getting into this, Andrew. We're not doing this today. Oh, okay. We Game Over Montreal. Nasty breakup during stream? Question mark? Question mark?
Oh man.
Sorry, guys, this is falling apart. Including emotionally, but here we are. So today, not today, but also just want to point out, guys, because the broadcast didn't talk about it very much, but Josh Henderson did go out mid-game, and it wasn't. They did announce that it is just illness. So
The gas station sushi meme.
yeah. Joshua, you are too handsome to have to eat that gas station sushi. You can
Was it
afford.
illness? Was it illness, or did Josh Anderson hit up like a little bit too much Nashville hot chicken before the game?
I mean, listen, either way, illness is illness. Like something's happening. Yeah, so that's not something for us to worry about too much, and I think that's good because I really like Josh Anderson's play lately. And I've really liked a lot of our teams play, especially in terms of I really like the physicality of this team. I think they're really ramping it up ahead of the playoffs. And one of the players we've seen do that is Caden Gooley, and I really liked his game. I'm just gonna take a second to glaze him because I admitted on stream when I thought he was playing badly, so I'm gonna admit on stream when I think he's playing. I think this is a very good pairing of Carrier and Gooley, and I'm glad that they did it, even if it means that Arbor Jacki doesn't necessarily have a space on the lineup right now.
Yeah, it's working really well. I really like what Caden Gooley's been bringing. He had that stretch of time after he came back from injury where he looked a little bit off. He seemed like he was falling on his butt all the time, and it looked like he just made a choice before there was a game, I guess a couple weeks ago now, where he just made a choice, and it's like, I'm going to be really difficult to play against on every shift.
Runs.
And he just started hitting guys. And when Caden Gooley's getting physical, it's really hard to play against that guy.
There's a lot of times where I just like think he's playing like an asshole, and I think sometimes that's what you need. A lot of times that's what you need, especially when you have players as such as Lane Hudson, who are doing the super. Even though Lane Hudson is apparently in his goon era now, which is not what we need out of him, but that is apparently something he's doing. So, hey,
It's fun.
I saw somebody say that, oh, like, would love for him not to be the first guy there, but I'm like, guys, he's so small, he moves so fast. I'm pretty sure he just gets there first because all the other guys also end up there. So it's not even a matter of that, like, I'm concerned that, like, the one guy showing any physicality on this team is Lane Hudson. I'm not concerned about that.
If they were letting him do it and like nobody was coming in to help, then it might be concerning. It's not like when Montembeault kept getting run in 2021 and everyone was all over Jeff Petrie for doing nothing and like the whole team was just kind of like, eh. It's not like that, right? It's just that Hudson's been getting in first, and like part of that's just he's always very close to the play. Like there's very few instances where Lane Hudson's out of position. He's just so mobile. So he's got a good chance of getting there. And I think also it's just desire. Like he wants it so bad right now. He wants to be involved in everything. And like sometimes it's leading to him doing a little bit too much. But overall, those are like the kinds of mistakes that I will live with 10 times out of 10 with Lane Hudson. Like I'll let him make those mistakes in the offensive zone because what you get out of it most times is astonishingly good.
Mhm, mhm. Laura, how have you felt about Lane Hudson's game in general just recently? Because I know it's been a bit uh, with Struble, it's definitely there's been more moments because he does have to cover for a lesser partner. I think we can admit that. But I've also, you know, I really liked some of the other things I've seen out of him. It seems like Struble's general physicality is like rubbing off on him. So, what have you been thinking about what you're seeing out of Lane Hudson recently?
So I think for me, one of the biggest things is that having to play with Struble is a little bit different than having to play with another player like a Matheson or a Dobson. It doesn't just have to do with the side that he's playing on. I think it also has to do with the fact that like your responsibility with one type of player is just to like really take part in the transition game, throw yourself in the offense, really just, be the Lane Hudson that everyone is looking for, that magician, right? But when you're playing with a player alongside somebody like Struble, your job becomes to elevate your defense partner's game, right? Which, admittedly, looking at Jaden Struble's play, Lane Hudson has had to do, right? He has,
Yeah.
sorry, not has had to. We know he has to. It's just that he has been able to. And I
Yeah.
think that that's been a major difference maker. And particularly, I really like Lane Hudson, like, being, like, the last couple of games, you see your goalie get, like, run over or, like, somebody going anywhere near him, and then Lane Hudson's the one just, like, leaping into the fray, and then you know that no man on that team is going to let Lane Hudson get touched by anyone else.
Exactly.
He's their baby, right? So, I just think it's really funny that we're seeing, like, the goon side of Lane Hudson, but it has cost him points, admittedly, and I think that we do kind of have to think about like and I know we're gonna get to Demidov, and I'm very excited to talk about like that second line and Demidov as well. Is that we have to start looking at these players sometimes with what they're doing, even with no points. And I think, I would say the last 7 games, maybe the 5 games before the last two, the last couple of games, I found that he was back to kind of normal. But the 5 games before that, you saw Lane Hudson trying to do too much, and he was trying to take matters into his own hands. And I think that doesn't really serve Lane Hudson very much. And I do know he's the architect, he has to be in control, he's the one who's able to slow down the game, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a limit to that. Like there's a point where like that like trying to do too much ends up backfiring, and I
Mhm.
think that fine line is really who he's playing with. So I've been really pleased with his last couple of games because I feel like he's been able to kind of not just rein it in, but I also think we talked about like Marty like changing his partner in the offensive zone versus the D zone, and I think that too has a lot of an effect. Like I think what we're relying on him for, and what we're getting from him is starting to merge back together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. I also wanted to say hello. We're seeing Game Over Calgary in the chat. Also, hello to everybody. I love having you guys here. Uh, I know it's, I know I'm not on my best. I'm not performing my very best today. But that's why I got two lovely people to make up for the slack. But also reading our chat, Adam points out that at the same time, Lane Hudson is fifth among defensemen in points, and that says it all, right? Like we have such uh, high expectations
Expectations?
expectations out of Lane Hudson. So we're just a little bit like about it, but I think I completely agree with you, Laura. I saw definitely a little bit of doing too much. I noticed it for the first time against the Islanders because I remember looking at Lane and going, "It's okay, buddy. We know they got another 48 on their side. That's a great defenseman, a young defenseman. I understand, but we like you don't have to fight him one on one." So I remember that was the first game that I noticed, and I went, Lane, a little bit. And then he found it. That's the great thing about guys with like the kind of hockey sense, the kind of skill that Lane Hudson has, is you don't really have to worry about it too long. He fixes it. Like it's fine.
Well, that's the thing, right? The mistakes that Lane Hudson is making are mistakes of like bounty, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
he's making a mistake on a play that wouldn't exist usually if Lane Hudson wasn't on the team. And he might be fifth in points, which is great. Guess where Lane Hudson is in terms of like the entire league in goals above replacement, according to Evolving Hockey. There's one player in the NHL ahead of him, Nikita
Really.
Kucherov. Nobody else
Oh,
close in terms of defensemen. He's ahead of Zach Werenski significantly. He's ahead of Moritz Seider. Also significantly better than Werenski defensively, which I found interesting. Also, just to stir the pot more, I apologize, Kay, but Nathan McKinnon's defensive numbers are still shit this season. Sorry.
that's all I
Cole
got.
Caulfield's better.
Anyways, so I think Lane Hudson is really cool and good, and I like having good players on our team. Speaking of Ivan Demidov, am I right, ladies?
Yes. What a player.
What a player! Oh my God, I'm so happy that we get to watch this guy. It's so cool. The team we get to watch is so cool, isn't it, guys? Isn't it so cool?
Damn cool. Like the fact that this is what they are now, this isn't their like competitive mode.
Yeah.
There's still players we're waiting to make the lineup that are part of like the competitive core already, like that are planned to be part of the competitive core. This team is wild. Like the way that they've scored this season, and like they might not score at this rate next season, right? Like the shooting percentage is a little bit high. But the fact that most of the goals that they're scoring are like beautiful goals also,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like they're doing things in a let's just throw everything in the kitchen sink at it and like hope we get lucky and bounces go in for us. Most games that the Canadians like that go against them, it's the other team getting the lucky bounces, and the Canadians pull off like three of the most beautiful goals you've ever seen, and then the Canadians are like, this hit 17 players on the way into the net. The goalie had no chance.
Yeah.
Or like tonight, where it's like, this bounced off the boards right in front of Fowler, and there's no way anybody could have picked it up. It went straight to the opponent.
Yeah.
It's crazy how legit they look.
Also the fun thing, right? Like last year, I watched this team, let's be honest, kind of crawl its way to the playoffs, right? And I'm not saying that the playoffs are guaranteed right now or that they're like gonna like clinch like for like ahead of time or anything. But this is a team I'm looking at and I feel a lot more confident looking at than did the one before. And I know a lot of it is that like the goalies are getting it together, but and I say this all the time, guys, but like looking back at last at like I when you look back at some of the results of earlier this year, you have to remember some of them were lost straight up on the back of goaltending. And like it wasn't a small amount of games. There was times where they genuinely played good hockey and lost because of the goaltending. So sometimes when I see them play a bad game and they win because of the goaltending, I'm fine with that. Not that that's been the case recently. It's been a good goalie behind a good team. And I'm frankly, I enjoy it when my team plays good hockey. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, that's the best.
Sorry, I
I
took
would
off for a
say
second.
that sorry, I'm having audio issues, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know why technology is not my friend today. First, my internet didn't work, and then like it keeps kicking me out, and now my audio is not working very well. But yeah, like I think like to me, like one of the things that I was very upset about was how much higher they could be in the standings, even if it's 6 points higher. Like that's three Sam non-disastrous Montembeault performances that we could have had, right? Three of them. If we had three of them from him
Yeah.
or if Jakob Dobish unfortunately didn't have his nightmare November, like that too. So like, for me, like it's hard not to be bitter about that. And it's not to say this team is perfect. They still have a lot of issues. And I don't even necessarily think it's like personnel issues as much as it's strategy and lineup issues. We know the forward core is not complete for the future. We know there's some guys on this team that are coming off in the next, like this summer, next summer. We know they still want to make a big splash on the market. But if you look at the particular defensemen they have, I don't have a problem with any of them being on this team. Sometimes I have a problem with deployment, right? Like, are you going to tell me that Mike Matheson is a bad D? No. Are you going to tell me that Noah Dobson's a terrible choice? No. He's like injected something into this team. Lane Hudson is a superstar. He's a top 5 defenseman in this league. And then you look at like Arbor Xhekaj, like if he lives up to what he's supposed to be, that's something that you need in a defensive lineup. Alex Carrier is an incredible defensive defenseman, right? Caden Gooley is that guy who's tough, who's mean, who's ruthless, who's physical, and once in a while he's able to jump in on the transition play, right? And like Jaden Struble has physical gifts. Now, I do think that Jaden Struble and Arbor Xhekaj are kind of redundant. Like the Canadiens are going to have to cut one loose and make their choice at some point. And I don't think that either one has done enough this season to really like show them which one it's going to be. But I have more problems with like their deployment. But you look at this team and you look at the like what they could have accomplished this year, and already they've beaten their total wins of last year, right?
Yeah.
So like looking at just like, we've got a player on this team that might win the Rocket Richard, that could win. We've got a player on this team that like, he in his rookie year, he's 4 goals away from 20, right? Like he's leading the rookies in scoring. So this team is so much better than last year. It just, for me, the thing that bothers me is that it's not higher in the standings, all based on goaltending. So when they steal a game, like Carolina, like I would consider that a stolen game, right? When they steal a game like that, I don't have a problem at all.
On top of that, like points that weren't lost by goaltending were lost by officiating. Like if the Canadians got half of the power
Edmonton
plays in the
game.
third period instead of
That
35% of the penalties in the third period, like it changes everything. The Canadians are already a good third period team, but they get dummied by the officials in the third period with a very, very good power play. Like this team is really dangerous and have been again, like they've not had things all go according to plan this year. The Buffalo Sabres have had everything go right for them in terms of like wins, losses, goal scoring, and they're barely ahead of the Canadiens after going like what they're like 31. They won again today in the shootout. There's something like 33 and 2 and 6 and something like that since December 4th. Like it's nuts, but they're still barely ahead of the Canadiens, who have had terrible goaltending for a lot of the year, can't get a power play to save their lives half the time. It's wild. It's wild. I think it's a truly impressive season by every single possible measure. And like any source of frustration is so small that I feel like the fan base has been far too reactive overall this year. I feel like everybody should be really happy.
I agree. And I think the one point of, that everybody talks about is that 2C, and it's a conversation we'll continue to have. But today, the second line was electric. That second line was so, so good. They were making things happen. Alex Newhook was doing the thing that he does, which is be fast. Like that's the thing he does. And Kapanen was going to the net, and Demidov with those hands. Those hands and that effort, that second effort that Demidov always puts in. Earlier today, I was watching that one Florida game where Nick Suzuki, they were down 2-0, I want to say, going to the third. they scored one goal last. It was a Cole Caulfield goal, and then a goal, and then Nick Suzuki scored, and then Nick Suzuki scored in the overtime to win that. One of those goals, I think it was the first Nick Suzuki goal, was Ivan Demidov going behind the net, kind of scaring I don't remember what goalie it was, but he almost pressured the goalie to let go of the puck, so one of Demidov's teammates could pass it to Demidov, and then Demidov could pass it to Suzuki. And it was a whole thing where I was watching this and I was going, this is a guy who like that's the really exciting thing for me for Ivan Demidov is the fact that he like cares about like the stuff that's not fun to care about. He cares about like those second efforts. He's trying his best defensively. He's not, he's doing his best. And if there's a will, there's a way. Especially for such a talented guy like that. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of this guy. Man, I can't wait to watch him next year when he's got 1 year of the NHL under his belt and maybe has a better idea of what it feels like to play a full 82 game season.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. And even his assist tonight, setting up, I believe it was Newhook on the fourth goal.
Yes, that's the one.
That was also just him battling. Like he just is relentless on loose pucks. And seeing that battle level as the Canadiens are approaching playoff time has been really encouraging because that line is not great overall in terms of controlling play. They had a great night tonight, but watching Demidov kind of take a step in terms of like puck control and I guess like his desire to be involved. He also got his 40th assist of the season tonight.
Crazy. That's crazy. I didn't realize that.
40 assists is crazy for a rookie. I mean,
crazy.
Lane Hudson got 60, which I think he joined a group. He's like the third defenseman in history to get 60 assists 2 seasons in a row. Or I think it was third Montreal Canadiens player in history to start their career with 2 straight 60 assist seasons, but he's the only defenseman.
That's crazy. That is insane. Man, I'm so excited about this team. I think I'm just really excited. Like I get really, really like giddy when I think of this team sometimes. Like, and I know Laura feels like a very similar way because we've talked about this sometimes where we just look at each other and go, man, like what a team, right? So,
I gotta say it's a good time to be a Montreal Canadiens fan. And this is something that, like I try to remind people because sometimes I see commentary and it happens a lot on our TikTok account, on our podcast TikTok account, but sometimes in just like in general, like, Habs fandom, people being like, how long do I have to wait for this team to be a contender? And it's like, listen, you lived through the 90s and the early 2000s, and now you're asking me, like, you don't want to wait 1 or 2 more seasons for this team to be dangerous. But like again, I just want to say, like, when's the last time? Do you remember in your lifetime? Kate, you probably weren't even alive. Andrew, I don't even know if you were alive, right? This many players that have elite potential. This many players that are like, oh, over 70 points or over X number of goals or over X number. Like it just like this is the thing. Like we need to enjoy these things because the combination of them coming together is eventually going to lead to a contender. But if we're asking them to do something 2 years ahead of time, then we're just like we're setting ourselves up for disappointment and we're not enjoying the journey because once they start contending, it's just going to be
it's gonna be
stress
so
all the time.
stressful. It's gonna be
stress all
so
the time.
stressful.
Yeah, I'm typically like not a fan of the whole like act like you've been there before because for starters, like this team hasn't.
Yeah.
And like a huge percentage of the Canadiens fan base has turned over since like COVID times. Like a huge amount of people who are my age and older got really disengaged during the Bergevin regime when things started to fall apart. And then the team, like the popularity of the Montreal Canadiens was not great going into COVID. Nobody really talks about it, but they were not selling out. For years, they weren't selling out. They were lying and saying they were selling out, but they were giving away hundreds of tickets every game, sometimes significantly more than that. And you could see in the lower bowl that like people just weren't showing up to games. It's changed completely. And a lot of that is because of young people. And a lot of that, frankly, is because of young women, because that's the fastest growing cohort in this sport.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool to see because everything has changed. But yes, we do need to kind of calm down a little bit because it has been very Jekyll and Hyde. The fan base this season, it's like, a goaltender has one bad game and like, oh my God, we're never going to win again. They're going to allow 5 goals every game, going to get swept in the playoffs or not even make the playoffs in the next game. Like Fowler, last game to this game, right? Last
Yeah.
game, pretty bad. This game, clinical, really damn
Yeah.
good. Didn't have to deal with too much, but he made like no mistakes the whole game. There's variable performances.
Yeah.
Yes, we're like in this show, we're talking game by game, but we're also talking a through line for the season because it's important to keep that perspective and see the forest for the trees. And the through line through the rebuild is just crazy. Like, I don't know if people
Ahead of schedule.
understand like people who are new to hockey, rebuilds don't happen like this.
Um,
Rebuilds don't happen where they're like 3 years in, you make the playoffs and you don't get stomped, and then 4 years in, they're like, now we're ready to like make the playoffs every year. And we've got waves of prospects coming and like a good mid-tier, like middle of the lineup or middle age for NHL, like mid-20s core that's already competitive ready.
Yeah.
Like Nick Suzuki could win a Stanley Cup today.
Yeah.
Cole Caulfield could win a Stanley Cup today. Those guys are ready to do that kind of stuff. Even Lane Hudson, I think, could be part of a Stanley Cup team today. Dobson, like all those guys. And then you've got the wave behind them coming up. It's just crazy how positive it is. So when people, like I saw somebody freaking out on Blue Sky the other day, like, oh, like they didn't like the Doc trade. Man, who gives a shit at this point?
At this point,
Like,
who cares?
like there's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
And the Doc trade, even if he never gets a healthy season, was still worth it on like a philosophical, structural, number crunching like evaluation.
Mhm.
They took a defenseman who was overvalued and aggressively mid and got way too much value for him and turned it into an NHL player immediately who could play in the top 6.
Yeah. And I think we're seeing Sammy Haig, apologies if I mispronounced it, say in the chat they were so lucky Suzuki was the first piece. And I completely agree. And I think that is both on ice. And I will say this until I'm blue in the face. I think that the leadership in this team guides it so much. It's
Yep.
been so important. And by leadership, I mean up top as well in the front office, but also just straight up on the ice from the coach, I think Nick Suzuki, who went through those COVID playoffs, who saw how a career can end, how 2 careers can end, of like 2 players who were bigger than life in some ways, right? I think we can both agree that like the legends of Shea Weber, the legend of Carey Price, those were, like those were guys who everybody can say probably deserved, nobody really deserves, but deserved a cup, right? And I think Nick Suzuki being there through that and seeing how hard it is, B, how many factors there are going into getting into a cup run, and C, seeing how quickly things can slip, or like how easy it is for people to just not careers to end. I think there's something to be said about that, and I'd love maybe one day when he retires to to ask him about that, because I don't think he'd give an answer. Where I think Nick Suzuki would try to give as honest of an answer as he can, but I don't think he can really reflect on it that way. Because just like I think, honestly, even just as a fan, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, man, how quickly things change and how easy it is to watch a great player. I'm not gonna get into that because I'm gonna get sad now. But my point being that I'm so glad we had Nick Suzuki. I'm so glad we have Nick Suzuki. Doesn't that guy rock? Favorite for the Selkie,
Absolutely.
by the way. Really high favorite for the Selkie, which, hey buddy, come on.
For the selfie.
I mean, I will take both. If he wants to start posting selfies all the time, I don't think he'd be good at them because boys aren't good at selfies. But
But
he
you know
can
what,
try.
Kay? Nick Suzuki if he just continues to do it, would become the king of selfies because everything that he practices at, he eventually becomes the best at.
That's
And
true.
he just give him an opportunity. He'll be an amazing selfie taker. And you know what? He can go to Le Saint Motel to
Yes,
take him
he
some
can.
amazing selfies.
Yes, he can. And why don't I send you guys over to the Saint Motel? Um, See you on the other side, guys.
While you're browsing Inchu Bijou's goth shop, head next door and discover Montreal's most unique selfie studio. Whether you're looking to take some banger pics of your Halloween costume or cosplay, or you want to make some memories with friends, Le Saint Motel has you covered. Experience their bombastic decors that are always changing, hop in the ball pit, and take advantage of their extensive and flexible on-site lighting. Head to lesaintmotel.com to book your time in the studio, book private time where you and your friends will be the only ones allowed in, or book the space for an event. The dedicated, caring staff will make sure that you have a good time. I do have one warning for you before you book. If you have kids, they won't want to leave. Whether you're at Le Saint Motel or Inchu Bijou, tell them Game Over sent you.
Hello. Um,
I feel like we keep getting surprised by the ad being over. We're all like chatting and they're like, oh shit.
I like each other, guys. What can I say? I'm sorry. So I
The
wanted to
peek
give you
behind the
guys the
curtain.
option to, or the opportunity to, if you guys have any questions or any things you'd like us to talk about specifically, please drop them in the chat. We'd love to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Have Andrew, did you or Laura? But I don't think you're looking at the chat. But have you noticed any questions? Because I have
Oh,
not.
before questions, I was just gonna say we need to do our look at his big ass go
Like
moment
I
of the
just said, yeah.
game.
So yeah, I got one. I got one.
You got one? Let's go for it.
I got the one, and it ultimately led to nothing, but it was such a good moment. Yuri Slafkovsky without his stick, taking the puck up the ice, doing so well at it, and then in the end, grabbed a stick from somebody else. Broadcast was saying it was Demidov, but I don't trust the broadcast, so I'm not going to believe that. Whoever it was way too. It was Gary Gallagher who was saying it. I'm not going to believe it. Am I stupid?
Yeah.
No. But I saw it, and it was somebody, and it was so small for him, but he still got a shot off. He just whiffed on it. That was just one of my favorite little moments that didn't amount to much except seeing Nick Suzuki and Cole and Slafkovsky giggling on the bench together, and that to me is a wonderful look at his big ass go moment.
I've got one.
I forgot for a second, but I'm with you on that K. Go for it, Laura.
So I think to the Demidov hitting a post, and then like hitting it again and sending it to Newhook, like that was so funny. I just thought it's like it like reminds me of when Nick Suzuki doesn't score and then he like will like just like do the same thing and score again, or like when he gets a goal taken away and he'll just score it again the exact same way, or like how for the last like 20 games, I don't know if you noticed this, at some point in the power play, Cole Caulfield just gets empty, and it's like Cole Caulfield has almost like he's got 45 goals this year, and how are teams forgetting him? And it's because Slafkovsky and Suzuki have done such a great job of pulling people away from Cole.
Because they're both threats, right? It's like it's
Yep.
ah. So, Andrew, your turn. Sorry, share with the class.
With the look at his big ass go. I'm with K because when I saw Slav do that, I just, even if the Nashville Predators are not a good team, without a stick, not just clearing your own zone, but keeping the puck under your control for a controlled exit, going through the neutral zone, and then executing a controlled entry, and then passing with your skate to Nick Suzuki so that you can go get a stick somewhere and get back involved in the play and get a shot. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous that he was able to pull that off. If I didn't see it with my own eyes and somebody just told me that it happened, I would assume that they were lying. I also liked the Dobson reverse hit on Zach Leroux that Sammy Hake brought up in the chat. And he was asking if Leroux had done something that made Dobson reverse hit him. And I think it was that him and Evangelista were all over Hudson at several points in the game, and I think they had just taken a number. And LaRue's a little jackass.
Yeah.
If you look through his career, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
So I think he earned it by just being who he is.
Yeah, yeah. And there were several they were poking at, I know Evangelista specifically, and I always remember this guy because I think his name is fun and then he's just not fun. And I resent that about him. If your name's gonna be fun, you should be fun. So I resent
Agreed.
that. I resent that. But I always remember him every time I watch him, I go, "Jeez, you're such a rat." So it's I did not like that they let him poke at them and like poked back a little too much. I think it was maybe Struble who caught him with a cross check. Um, by the way, whoever it was that Jake Evans got with his stick, uh, that was like on the bottom of his skates. That was definitely a scoreboard kind of penalty. That's never called if the Habs aren't up like 4-0 or whatever they were at that point. And I again resent it because that's the power play that eventually broke Fowler's shutout. So boo and hiss and things of that sort. But I'm not gonna spend too much time thinking about it. Like it's annoyed me.
Yeah. And Romelli, I'm not going to read that comment, but if I brought that up to Astrid, who is the co-owner of Le Saint Motel, she would be for it. So don't tempt. She loves that kind of joking around, and she's all about that life. So don't tempt. We don't need to have a segment called that.
Yeah. Yeah, like Romelli says, 100% a 4-0 game management penalty. Also, I'd love your guys' thoughts on this. I think I've also seen Noah Dobson. I don't mean to single him out, but I'm singling him out because of everything Isles fans always said about him. But I've been seeing him like also get. He's big. He doesn't always play like he's a big defenseman. And that's fine. He has other things he can make up. Like it's fine. It's not a problem. He's not soft. He just doesn't play. He just doesn't play.
Not a bruiser.
Exactly. But recently I've been seeing him also get into playoff mode. Today I don't think he actually fought what I've been liking Noah Dobson is what I'm saying.
He's been doing some shoving.
Totally agree. He's been crunching guys along the boards. He's been taking names, and I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed seeing Noah Dobson. I also think that he's been really undersold for his work on the penalty kill this year. Carrier and Matheson have really struggled, but Dobson has been pretty damn clinical for a PK that has struggled for much of the season. So I'm really enjoying how Dobson's taking it up a notch.
I really think that Islanders like I don't know if maybe he was different in Long Island, but I think they exaggerated how bad he was defensively. I think it definitely for me it's better than expected. Like I was excited to get him. He's phenomenal. Like him and Matheson at the beginning of the season, just watching them like really just brought me so much joy. But I think his defensive play is underrated. And I never thought he was soft, but he's not a large guy. Like he's tall, but he's not he's long legs and they're lanky. Like he's not you said he's not a bruiser. Like he's just not that shape. You know what I mean? And so his defense has to come from his brain, not his body. And it's fine if the Canadians have effective players who play with their body. So which is why I think that Struble or Jacques, I really need to take steps forward before we have a complete D on this team.
Yeah, Romelli asks if Texier is still injured and Anderson can't play tomorrow, do they dress Laine or do they play 11-7? I don't think Laine is eligible to play.
He is.
Is he?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
okay.
is. He's not on LTIR. He's on regular IR. He is an option. It's just Marty's not using him.
Well, I mean, I can't really blame him. I mean, that's one of those things where, like, I like Patrick Laine, the person. I really appreciate what he brought last season. I don't think they make the playoffs without his burst of power play goals in the middle of the season. But I don't see a spot for him because his weaknesses are just too exploitable. And in the playoffs, I mean, with how much time he's missed this year and what happened in the playoffs last year with him, I just have no confidence.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, great point by Sammy again in the chat. The Owls probably saw a lot of Dobson's growing pains, which affected how they looked at him, and I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, listen, there's always the like bitterness aspect, whatever, right? Like, I think honestly, let's all admit it. I think fans are honestly kind of always going to be a little bit bitter if a player leaves, right? I think that's whatever. But I think the legitimate like problems might be part of that. Sammy also asked, would you guys try Texier with Demidov and Kapanen? If you don't consider how good of a game the line was had today.
I wouldn't, because I think Alex Newhook drives a lot of zone entries, and I know that Demidov does that as well. But I think, he and Demidov have started to find a little bit of chemistry, and then with Kapanen going to the net, it's great. So if you're going to substitute someone, you substitute Kapanen, but then you wouldn't have a center on that line. You'd have to move Newhook to center. So I wouldn't do that. Like, I think that Texier needs to be used as a finisher and a finisher alone.
Yeah, I really like Texier. I think Laura hit the nail on the head that if there's an issue with that line, it's in the middle. It's not on the wings. I don't understand. I feel the same way about Carrier, but to a lesser degree because Carrier has like really apparent weaknesses that like are frustrating to watch at times. But Alex Newhook this season, I feel like people need to be more happy about that guy. He has been a killer this year. He's been excellent. He's been putting in hard work. He's been driving lines that he has in previous years not been capable of driving. He's in there on offense like almost all the time. Outside of the top line, he's been the most consistent guy offensively. Like Demidov has been great as well, but a lot of that's on the power play. At even strength, Newhook's been on it. And I'm surprised I've not seen more flowers for the guy. And I have to be on his side because, I got to root for the Newfoundlanders too.
I think one thing that with Newhook is that you notice when he got injured how much slower the team got overall.
Yes.
They look like they were skating in mud, and Alex Newhook contributes a lot to that. So like maybe he's not lighting the lamp, maybe he's not the two-way center that Nick Suzuki is, but that team speed that he brings, and I really think that he is one of the most effective like zone entry guys that we've seen on this team in like a decade.
Yeah.
And
He's really. Go ahead, Kay.
I was gonna say first, like we have to remember that this guy missed a lot of time, and he's come back and gotten right back into that. Like, first of all, I think it's been so important. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but before he left, before he got injured, I was gonna say forced to leave, but that's also not right. Anyways, before he got injured, he was playing with Kapanen and Demidov on that line, and they had built chemistry at that point. And right as they were building chemistry, he got injured. And then he came back, and he's been able to get it back together so quickly, and that's so admirable. I've always cheered for this guy. I'll be so honest. Like he's just and like I just really like him. I think he's like a very this is a guy who wants to be a part of this team. Like those guys, like he clearly wants to do what it takes to be part of this team, whether it's playing a role that he didn't imagine. And you love that. And also he shoots, like he shoots the puck. All the times I scream, please shoot the puck. It's like Alex Newhook hears me and nobody else does. And he's like, I got you.
Yeah, I like the guy. I'm surprised that more people haven't been on the Alex Newhook train this year. There's questions in the comment about like what to do if Anderson's out, right? We talked about Line A quickly. Probably not going to happen. Is this controversial? You guys tell me. If Anderson can't go and Texier can't go tomorrow, let our Bergerac guy try as a forward. Just tell him to go out there, forecheck, and hit everything that moves really, really hard. And then once they gain the puck, go to the front of the net, Arbor.
I think against a team like Carolina, that probably kills them. Because Carolina they will, there will be a lot of penalties, is what I'm gonna say. That's what I'm not against the concept as a whole, but perhaps not against a team that's good.
My question is, where is the Laval Rocket right now, and how quickly can Florian get to Raleigh? That's my question.
But then if you call up Florian, I kind of want them and it's not deserved. Like I liked his game tonight actually, Veleno, but I would then scratch Veleno and play both Jack Eyes on the fourth line, and just tell them to be assholes.
I think Seth Jarvis gets injured if that happens.
Why Seth Jarvis in particular?
I don't know. I don't like most of the Carolina Hurricanes, but I love Seth Jarvis, so I worry about him. Not all of them.
Buddy,
As long
go
as
right
Ehlers
into
is
the
there now too,
stall.
right?
Yeah.
As long as it's not Ehlers. We'll always respect him for being the Jake Evans protector in the playoffs.
Yeah. That was that moment really. Those are the kind of moments that like make me cheer for a player. I would never cheer for the Carolina Hurricanes, but if they stop being losing losers who lose and like actually manage to do anything in the playoffs, like every team you'll find one guy that you can be at least a little bit happy for. I think that would be my guy on the Canes. However, I don't have to worry about that because they're losing losers who keep losing, and Rod Brindamore keeps filling his diaper. So that's fun.
That diaper is so full.
Overly full at this point. Sammy asked
It's like
who would play PK.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, Nick Suzuki all game
It's gonna be
long.
Suzuki. It's always Nick Suzuki. But like they have players in the lineup who have played PK this year who've done well. I mean, Veleno has looked good since he's been back in the lineup. Kapanen has played PK and done fine. I'm not worried about the forwards on the PK, honestly. I feel like the forwards are pretty darn good. It's more the defense and the overall structure of the PK that worries me. I feel like we've probably done that to death, but
Or the fact that it's the penalty killers that keep taking freaking penalties. Like they could stop that. That would be great.
that's also true. Oh, can we do something fun?
Yes.
Just quick.
Yes.
How many assists do you think Ivan Demidov finishes the season with? He's got 40. There's 10 games left.
48.
48? How many rookies do you think have had over 48 or 48 or more assists in the NHL in the since 05-06? So 20 seasons.
1,500,000.
8. Just 8.
Really? Wow.
The names are Sidney Crosby, Matthew Barzal, and then in third place, with one fewer than those two at 62, Lane Hudson, Nick Backstrom, Alex Ovechkin, Evgeny Malkin, Patrick Kane, and Paul Stastny. Quinn Hughes is there at 48, and then Trevor Zegras at 48, but that includes a partial season before. It's over 99 games, which it drives me nuts that the NHL doesn't split up seasons when you're looking at rookies and they like add it together. Like William Nylander had 46, but over 103 games. That's not the same. Mitch Marner had
cheating.
42. It is cheating. I agree. Mitch Marner only had 42. Philippe Forsberg, 42. That's 100 games. God damn it. Like Moritz Seider had 43. That's actually pretty impressive for Moritz Seider, who isn't that good. I know he's having a great season, but I think he's a huge cheater.
Slavkovsky. They have something that like they end up like going up against each other for some reason every single time that Detroit and Montreal play each other. Excuse me. I always last time that Detroit and Montreal played, it was a Seider penalty that Slafkovsky scored on. So I was like, of course, like there's for some reason they just hate each other's asses, which like fair. I mean, yes, like you all gotta have some random guy you have beef with. We all gotta have that.
Got it.
But also, like, think about playing against Slavkovsky. Like, if you're any NHLer playing against Slavkovsky, like, it must not be the most fun thing in the world.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
got to be. We've talked about this before. The yuck, the goofy laugh, where it's just this goofy ass, basically still a teenager, even though I know he's in his 20s now, and he just like knocks you like 15 feet across the ice with one arm because he's so damn strong, and then does his goofy ass laugh, takes the puck, and now he scores on top of it. Like he's got to be insanely annoying to play against. And he looks like one of those guys who like he chirps, but his chirps are like, "You're a dum dum," and you're like, "What?" And he knows they're not good. He's doing it on purpose just to like mess with you because he could do a smart chirp. He doesn't have the energy for it. He's too busy playing hockey. But he's still getting
Recently,
you off your game.
he's recently started like sticking his tongue out after like scoring goals. Like it's now become his bit. Like Cole Caulfield did it all the time, and now he's like, "Well, I'm gonna do what Cole Caulfield does." But also, not that you guys remember his very first goal, where he just like screamed in the guy's face after scoring. We should have known. We should have
That was
known what kind of guy he would have, what kind of player he was gonna turn out to be after that. Like that's a big dog move.
yeah. Yeah. I love that he's backing it up now too. And it's not just the points, you know, like and I know that Kay caught shit on X, which what a waste, that website. But I've noticed there hasn't been any response when I came back and talked about like because somebody was saying that Slavkovsky is like a passenger, and an average NHLer would have like 80 points on that line. And yeah, no, doesn't it's not backed up by facts at all. It's crazy, crazy. And I pushed back on it. No response. I feel like the Slav hate is very close to being gone league wide. Like the recognition is real because his ascension has been nuts.
Absolutely.
I also love that he's getting bolder personality-wise. Like, I just like my favorite thing is that he chirps his own line mates, being like, "You'd have more goals if you scored on some of my assists, right? Or scored on some of my passes." But he just like you could tell how much joy he gets from playing with those two guys and how much he loves them. But like he's relentless in making fun of them, and it's so funny because coming from Slavkovsky, it doesn't sound cocky. It just sounds like a joke.
It sounds like he's a
Yeah.
kid joking around. I'm not like there was like a clip from his after the buzz cut, and picture that with a capital T and a B. After that game, like somebody asked him about like the hair and like if he was gonna keep it, and he's like, "Well, it's not gonna grow back." Like he's like, "It's not gonna grow back
Yeah, no,
tomorrow." He's like, "It's not gonna grow back tomorrow."
I can't do much about that. Yeah, he's got like that dry humor that I find like a lot of Eastern Europeans have
Yeah.
when they in the NHL specifically in English. They're very good at delivering that. Like Jaro Spacek was fantastic for that. Even Roman Hamrlik was genuinely pretty funny. Thomas Plekanec, my God, devastatingly funny and mean sometimes. Not to like media, I don't think, but to other players in the team. Uh, it's great, and I feel like Slav is so. There's something about him that like breaks uncomfortability in a way. Like he just is an easy person to see yourself being around. It's like he could be extremely arrogant with how
hmm
good he is,
hmm
but he's not. He's confident, but he has an air about him that just there's no arrogance there. There doesn't seem like there's a lot of ego. But I did want to say just quickly there was a question here. I wanted to scroll back up from Bernardo Sunier. Says, "Will Yzerman get fired if the Wings miss the playoffs again?" And I said this years ago, but this is why you don't hire like former greats from your organization in management roles, because now Yzerman is not the greatest GM of all time, like everyone assumed when he was in Tampa Bay, because he wasn't able to take their entire management team over with him to Detroit, like Julien Brisebois, who's extremely good, plus the Tampa Bay Lightning's incredible pro scouting department that finds amazing players from other teams all the time that they've given up on and developed them extremely well. Now somebody has to be the Detroit Red Wing manager who fires Steve Yzerman.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is they're going to delay that decision for a very long time, much longer than they should have, which
Haven't they
probably
already?
theoretically, like, yeah, they've already done that, but they're going to push it even further, and they're going to waste this quasi rebuild that they did. And it's not like they got great picks along the way anyway, but yeah, it's going to end in disaster. And I think it was obvious a long time ago. I think when they signed like Mark Stahl, and they were like, "No, he's going to help us win," and I was like, "Cool." And then they're like, "Also Ben Sherratt," and you're like, "I see what you're trying to build. I don't think it's going to go as you think it's going to go." Yeah, it sucks for Detroit, but it's going to be ugly.
Well, with that, it's
It's
like
fun for us.
it is fun for us, but also I see what they're trying to do, like, and I don't know if it's the best strategy, but even if it was the best strategy, they still did it in the wrong way. Like, that's the fun thing. It's like the big bruiser thing does not work in today's NHL. I don't think so. Just when it's like straight up just big bruiser. But they didn't even do it right. So I was like, okay, well, if you want like your goalie to be like, if you want your own players to be pushed into your goalie, Ben Sherratt is the guy for you, man. Like, congrats.
You will injure your goalie.
And your goalie alone.
That's why you do what the Canadiens did. You take a Hall of Famer that's a legend on some other team, and you bring them over, like Marty.
Yep. Yep. And also, like, you have to find the right fit, right? Like Kay mentioned off the top that like so much of it is like Nick Suzuki's leadership and the way that Nick Suzuki melds with Marty St. Louis. I think that is just such a perfect fit there. Like two extraordinarily cerebral hockey players. And then like Cole Caulfield, like as soon as Marty was hired and everyone was like, hey, pairing, match made in heaven. And it has been that very clearly. I wonder if they like go to the gym together and take pictures of their quads in the mirror together and compare. I'm not saying I know that they do it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
There was a
Like
video that
so much of it.
yeah. There was
So
a
much
video
of
that
it's
the
about
Habs
fit,
put
man.
out that like today or a few days ago or yesterday actually. And it was just like they were like talking about like teammate nicknames, which by the way, confirmed Arbor Jacki does not like the Wi-Fi nickname. So that's been confirmed yet
Yes.
again. Would love it if people listen to that. But also they were like talking about nicknames. Insane ones there. Some insane ones there. Bueller being one, Mueller for guess who. And Andrew, did you see that? Did you see that video? Can you guess who's? Yeah,
Laura sent this to me earlier today,
yeah.
and there are many great moments. I think my favorite is everything with Dobesh.
It's so fun. It's so funny. Anyways, my point with that was Cole Caulfield's calves look insane in that. So like that's what I was thinking about. But yeah, that entire video was very funny. With Lane going from Wayne to Wayne Gretzky. That's a good one.
I just want to know what you guys make of the fact that Cole is the only guy on that team with no nickname.
It's just Cole.
He's just Cole.
There's one he apparently has that they probably can't say. So that one. But I think
Oh,
there's
does
some
it have
other
to do
one.
with genitalia size?
Yeah, but
Is
like
it tripod like we were joked last time?
no, it was apparently something Shea Weber gave him the nickname for. But I imagine it was something, whatever it was. But they would have had to have another one. But it's very funny to me to imagine guys just like, Slav, like Susie. We got House over there. We got Gould. We got Bueller over there. And this is Cole. This is Cole.
Yep. I mean, I did know like Cole's playing games though. Clearly, somebody watched Heated Rivalry because the beginning of that video, first thing he does is he puts on the slutty little glasses, like Shane Hollander. He's rocking it. I see you, Cole Caulfield. I know what you're doing.
Yeah. Timothy. Ah, that was a good one.
That
Yeah.
was great. And the fact that they said that Dobesh like self-appointed himself Himothy, and Dobesh was like, no, it wasn't me. I didn't do that. But I do like that one.
Lots of Dovish, man. What a guy.
I gotta say though, like Dobish is not a Himothy, he's a him. Dobish
Isn't
is him.
He is.
He's looking like it.
Oh yeah.
We should probably close it out.
Yeah, right on time. Right on time. So thank you everybody who's joined us. We had a bit of a delirious one today, but we had lots of fun. I would like to remind everybody, if they haven't liked the video yet, please be sure to do that. We are here for you after every game. We try to be here for you after every game. We mostly manage to succeed. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Check out Laura on Locked On Canadiens. They do a show every day, which is crazy, insane, but they are so good and I love them so much. Ian and Laura, and they're very good and they're very kind and they're my friends and I like them a lot. And that's
We love you too, and we're also having your intern on the Tuesday episode. So
nice. Okay. Love you. Good night. Yeah. Bye.
Later.